To you, my Yah, do I lift up my soul. And trusting you, he always kept me whole. And left my enemies deep in their holes. Let none that wait on Yahweh be ashamed. Put shame on those who sin without a cause. Show me your ways, please teach me your laws. Oh Elohim of my salvation, I'm staying down and patient. As a child, all the while I'm waiting. Remember not the sins of my youth. Lead me in your truth, and he'll give your soul ease. The earth shall remain inherited by a seed. The secret of Yahweh who fears Elohim, of who believes everything. And to every word spoken, you can't take heed unless you hear somebody curse. You know you did the same thing. That's why I'm begging Yah for mercy and His love and kindness, cause I know that I ain't worthy.
Captivity is taking hold upon me. Put fright in me and now we flee from fallen leaves. The grinding grief from all the blood our people seen. And now we cry, where is the word from Elohim? It's so we feel that we are His wives to be submissive, but we dismiss it. It is of this reason we have fallen victim to the lies that your root will prey and pursue. Rebellious of His Son, forgotten that He is one. Broken the holy ordinance, rejection of reproof. Then acknowledge what we do. Now we return back to the truth.
Yah's word is the truth. Yah's decrees is the proof. Local 12 just released the scoop. It's the summer of Sam. They calling us Ham. Made us worship the Son of Man. And somehow that the moon, they stole our style and gave it to Rothschild. Now we exalt the vow, but hit the turnstile. Yah's Nabi set the crooked things straight. Praise Yah from the rising to the evening to the closing the gate. Exposing the fake. Yah give the truth a day break. Now the liars can't escape and the haters can't relate to the light that truth makes. See the wicked's pride deflate. You adore Yah, magnify Yah, cause He's great.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Giving all praises, all glory, and all honor unto the mighty Elohim, whose name is Yahweh, by saying hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. And welcome to another beautiful broadcast of Nothing But the Truth. I am your host this evening, or this night, Mowreh IshYAH YIsraEL, from the House of Israel of Cincinnati, located here at 1907 Vine Street, here to bring you nothing but the truth. And we'd like to say shalom to everyone listening in our internet audience, for we know the only reason you have tuned in to our program is because of your great fear and love for the mighty Yahweh, the creator of the heaven, earth, and sea, and all that therein is. And again, we give all praises unto Yah. For who is this Yah? Yahweh is the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, or Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He is the creator of the heaven, earth, and sea, and all that therein is. And Yahweh is an Elohim of truth, and Yahweh is an Elohim of judgment. And all of Yah's ways are judgment. And here on Nothing But the Truth tonight, we will talk about Yah's perfect and holy word. And we'll deal with the black plight. Now, these very recent programs that we've all been witness to, taught exquisitely by our senior elder Mowreh IshYAH ben YIsraEL, dealing with judgment, has been some of the most profound teachings myself has heard, because the mighty Yah revealed through our elder Mowreh IshYAH something that is essential to being righteous, something that is essential to being holy, and something that is essential to walking with Yahweh. And what is that? That is judgment. And what does Yahweh's word say about judgment? If you look in the book of Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, in the 4th verse, it states here, He is the rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment. A Elohim of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he. So all of the Almighty's ways are judgment. And if you're going to walk in all of Yah's ways, you must walk in judgment. And look what Yah says in the book of Genesis, the 18th chapter. And in the 19th verse, Yahweh says about Abraham, "For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of Yah to do justice and judgment, that Yah may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him." So Abraham was so great in the Most High's eyes that he knew Abraham would teach his children and his household after him to do the way of Yah, to walk in justice and judgment. Righteousness is justice. And also look in the book of Isaiah, the 9th chapter, the 7th verse, where it reads, "Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of Yahweh of hosts will perform this." Again, if you're going to walk in the way of Yah, it must be in judgment and in justice. Abraham taught and set a standard for a man in Israel to teach his household in the way of justice and judgment. And Yah will establish the kingdom of David in the way of justice and judgment. And lastly, in the book of Jeremiah, the 4th chapter, the 2nd verse, or 1st verse, where it reads, "If thou wilt return, O Jacob, saith Yah, return unto me, and thou wilt put away and if thou wilt put away thine abominations out of my sight, then shalt thou not remove. And thou shalt swear, Yahweh liveth in truth, in judgment, and in righteousness. And the nations shall bless themselves in him, and in him shall they glory. If Yahweh has seen fit to bring the word through one of his servants that has magnified his law, his word, so that we now get a clear picture and a clear message and a clear understanding of what judgment is. Judgment is not what they taught you in school. Judgment, they even teach you, don't be judgmental. Oh, you're judgmental. Well, how in the world can you walk with Yahweh and not be judgmental in a righteous manner? We've been taught not to be judgmental, not to judge. We've been taught judgment is just consequences of punishment, rulings only reserved for the colonizers, your enemies, the enslavers. We've been taught that judgment is some thing that we don't have to worry about. But as Yahweh has clearly showed us, if you want to walk with him, you must walk in judgment and justice. And we've been exposed to, those of us that has saw and listened to Mowreh IshYAH's program dealing with judgment of Yah, the judgment of 20, the judgment of 40, dealing with judgment. We've seen Yahweh is teaching us and magnifying to us his judgment. Therefore, the Most High wants us to understand how to return unto him. Now, what we're going to discuss tonight is the black plight. And why so? Because what we don't understand and what we haven't known is that there is a plight that is being followed through upon our people. We're walking in a plight. We experience a plight, and it's the black plight. I used to teach a program called the Black Plight Radio Show, and we used to say every program that the things that we brought out and taught on about your plight, my plight, it is the black plight. And Yah has not been blind to your plight. But this aspect of the black plight is literally the dark or the black plight. Something you haven't even known and seen, yet it has caused great hardship. And what is that? That is the ignorance of judgment. Look in the book of Isaiah, the 9th chapter. And it's going to be the 2nd verse. It reads, "The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shine." This scripture was read earlier in the week or last week, and it was very profound. Because what Yahweh is showing us here is that we've been in darkness. not only been in darkness, but walking in darkness, blindness, without sight. Because we haven't been able to see the word of the Most High and what he wants us to do with it, how he wants us to utilize it. So we've been walking in darkness, yet it is the time in which Yahweh is allowing the people that have walked in darkness to see a great light. Yahweh is allowing the people that have dwelt in the land of the shadow of death, in his America, in his Jamaica, in all the islands, South America, but especially here in Babylon. Is this not the shadow of death? The land of the shadow of death. That means this is a land where the shadow of death is upon you every day. David said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And why is that? Because Yahweh is with him, and Yahweh is with you. Yet we have dwelt in the land of the shadow of death. Death is always our shadow. You have no surety of life here. It hangs in the balance. You know not what will make it of this day. Will you make it? Will you be slaughtered by your enemy? For you are and we are in the land which Yahweh said, our enemy's land will we perish, and our enemy's land will eat us up. This is the land of the shadow of death. Yet unto them hath light shine. And this light is the word of Yah. The word of Yah is this light that is beginning to shine brighter and brighter. Again, the Most High let us know in the book of Hosea, the 4th chapter, the 6th verse. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt not be a priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy Elohim. I will also forget thy children. This is a black plight. Not just because your skin is black, because you're blacked out. There's no light. We've forgotten his law. We've been in the land of the shadow of death. We've walked in darkness, and the Most High has forgotten our children because we have rejected him. Is there any other, or is there anything more hard than walking on in a way and in life where the Most High has blinded you, where you cannot see? How do you think a nation as great as ours is not ruling and is not the wealthiest people on earth? Only because we're walking in darkness, living in darkness, not seeing the word of the Most High, absent of our true source of power. How else can a people rule us? Look what it says in the book of Isaiah. And what am I showing you right now? I'm showing you the evidence of ignorance among the children of Israel. And what are we ignorant of? Up until a couple of days ago, we were ignorant of something in a manner that made Yah's word jump out at me. And this is what Yah said in Isaiah, the 1st chapter, the 3rd verse. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Yisrael doth not know, my people doth not consider. Why is this and what is this? Why doesn't Israel know? Why doesn't Israel consider? Because we forgot the Creator. We forgot his laws. And if you forgot the Almighty and his word, you are in darkness. Black all around, you cannot see. This is a hardship like no other. And black folks, we have made an art and a skill of walking in ignorance. We have turned ignorance into a culture to be desired. They called us a nigger, and now white folks want to use the word and say it's a term of endearment. They gave us swine, and we made it taste like the best thing on earth to some folks. We have turned the intestines, the large intestine, the colon of a pig, into a delicacy eaten during holiday time. We have turned ignorance into something magnificent. But that does not make it good, nor does it make it right, nor does it make it desirable once you begin to learn the word of the Creator. But we have made an art of walking in darkness. But the end of a matter is always better than the beginning. And you'll always learn the truth at the end. In the end of the chitlins, in the end of the bacon, in the end of the foul words placed upon us, always results in the same thing: destruction and confession that Yah is righteous. He said we would eat polluted foods. He said we would be a byword in the proverb. He said these things would happen, and they have happened. They are happening, and they will continue to happen until we return unto the Creator and our time is up. But again, this has been a plight. Look in the book of Jeremiah, because now Yahweh will show us what we've been so grossly ignorant of. And it's in Jeremiah, the 8th chapter, the 7th verse, which has been read a few times in the past days. In Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 7, yea, the stork in the heaven knoweth her appointed times, and the turtle and the crane and the swallow observe the time of their coming. Understand that. The stork, the bird in heaven, knoweth her appointed times, knows her set times, knows her seasons. And the turtle and the crane and the swallow observe the time of their coming. They know. But my people know not the judgment of Yahweh. Which means what? Israel don't know when to come and when to go, how or why. what it means, when it is, how to do it, or where to. Because Israel does not know the judgment of the Most High. If they don't know their time, which we don't, which we haven't known, then they don't know judgment. Israel don't know. They haven't known. They don't consider. How can you when it hasn't been taught to you? How can you when it's been stripped from you? When it's been neglected to be given to you? Yahweh said this in Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. Jeremiah 50, and you can start reading verse 6. My people have been lost sheep. You see? Lost, rejected the word of Yah, forgotten, in darkness, the land of the shadow of death, don't know, inconsiderate, don't know their time. All of these things equate to lost sheep. And if you're lost and you cannot see, and it's dark, it's black, and you having a hard time, that's a plight. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. Yes, the leaders of the people have caused us to err. The leaders of the people have caused us to go astray. The shepherds haven't directed us. They've neglected to tell us, your family shepherd, your fathers, your ancestors, your ministers, your teachers. They haven't taught us. They haven't taught us these right things. They haven't known them. Our ancestors rejected Yah. And now we're in the land of the shadow of death. Now we have shepherds that continuously lead us astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from the mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. Where is our resting place? We don't know how to get there. We don't know what time to get there. We don't know when to get there. We don't know if it's north, east, south, or west. We don't even know north, east, south, and west. Because why? We've forgotten the Almighty. Again, in the book of Isaiah, the 60th chapter. The first verse, where it reads, Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Yahweh is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. The Most High said, darkness will cover the earth, which it has. But gross, thick darkness covers the people, the children of Yah. Yet, just like in the 9th chapter of Isaiah, where it read that the people that have walked in darkness have seen a great light, And they that have dwelt in the land of the shadow of death, has the light been seen upon them. Also those that have been in great or gross darkness, the light of the glory of Yah is risen upon you. And how is this light risen upon us? How is it rising on us? It's doing it in this manner. In the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. In Daniel chapter 7, verse 19, it says, "Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth, that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them." And this is what America has been doing. This is what the fourth beast is doing. Making war with the children of the Most High. Wearing them out. In verse 21 it says, "I beheld the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom." Now, what was given to the saints? Judgment. Judgment. And what is judgment? It's none other than the word of the Most High. He's given his people the ways of Yah. How else are they going to prevail? Look here in the book of Psalms, the 1st chapter. Psalms 1. States here in the 4th verse, "The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the wicked shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous." So if he's given judgment, it's only going to the righteous. It's only going to the saints. And he gave the judgment. Now, how did the Most High come? And how is he coming? And how will he come to his saints? First off, if the Ancient of Days is coming to give judgment unto the saints, wouldn't you want to be a saint? Wouldn't you want to know, how can I be a saint? I've been told I've been a black nothing my whole life. They've been shooting me down and leaving me dead in the street without even having the decency to cover my body for hours upon hours. They don't seek any righteous vindication for the evils that's been done. We don't get any reparations. I've been told I've been nothing. Yet, here it is. I'm really a child of Yah. Well, how am I able to be a saint? Because this judgment thing seems like the thing to have. And if it's going to the saints, how can I be in the circle? We'll go to the book of Psalms, the 50th chapter. In verse 5, where it reads, "Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice." Well, there's your first and most important clue to become a saint. Make a covenant with the Most High, sacrifice, and make a covenant with the Creator. And some of us has gone into a covenant with the Almighty, a covenant in which we have dedicated ourselves to humble ourselves, to fast from food and water for 40 days, which we've completed, and 40 nights, which we're in the midst of. So your first thing that you want to do is return to Yah by making a covenant and humble yourself. Then we can get on this road of sainthood. And how is the Most High going to give us this judgment? Well, look here. In the book of Hosea, the 6th chapter. And what are we discussing? The black plight. We established that it's been a dark plight, a black plight, a time of hardship because we have had no judgment of the Most High. The word of the Creator has not been in the midst of his people. But now Yahweh is revealing and magnifying his word so that we, the children of the Creator, are able to know our time. That's what it said in Jeremiah. It said the stork in heaven knows her appointed time. The swallow and the turtle and the crane observeth the time of their coming. Yet my people know not the judgment of Yah. We haven't known it because we haven't seen it. But Yahweh is showing us now. And in the book of Hosea, the 6th chapter, start reading in the first verse where it reads, "Come and let us return unto Yahweh, for he hath torn, and he will heal us. He hath smitten, and he will bind us up. After 2 days will he revive us. In the 3rd day he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. Then shall we know, if we follow on to know Yahweh, his going forth is prepared as the morning, and he shall come unto us as the rain, as the latter and the former rain unto the earth. And what does that mean? Why does it say he shall come to us as the rain, as the latter and the former? So should we be looking for some rain, some special rain? What this is really telling us is that he will fall upon us or come upon us through teaching. Through teaching. How else are you going to receive the judgment? Through the word of the Creator. In the book of Ezekiel, you'll see what he's talking about. 37th chapter. In Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, in the first verse, it says, the hand of Yahweh was upon me, and he carried me out. And the Spirit of Yah set me down in the midst of the valley which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Yah Elohim, thou knowest. Again he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. Now what did he tell Ezekiel to do? He told him to prophesy, to speak these words of inspiration, and let them know that they shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and pour breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am Yah. But it came through prophesying, through his word. He had to speak to them for them to live. And verse 7 says, so I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Then he said unto me, prophesy unto the wind, son of man, prophesy and say to the wind, thus saith Yahweh Elohim, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army. He had to speak. He had to prophesy. He had to repeat the words of the Creator so that this valley of dry bones can come alive. How else is the Most High going to bring his light, his life, his judgment to you? But through his word. Then in verse 11, he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off for our parts. Didn't I tell you that we have been lost? That we have been in darkness? That we have been in the valley, the land of the valley of the shadow of death? This is why it is a black plight. How else could you go through an ordeal as our people are going through today, in which death, destruction, confusion, and mayhem is at your door, if it wasn't this land of the valley of the shadow of death? And why would you be in such a situation if it wasn't for the absence of the word of the Creator? And how else can you be received and returned and delivered and saved from it if it wasn't for the presence and the ushering in of Yah's word, which is his judgment, which is light, which is his law? And the Most High said in verse 12, therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith Yahweh Elohim, behold, my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you into the land of YIsraEL. And ye shall know that I am Yahweh when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall ye know that I, Yahweh, have spoken it and performed it, saith Yahweh. You see, the reason we have been in this plight is because we have forgotten the Almighty. But now the Most High is ready to wake you up, to cause your memory to be reignited so that you can remember the Creator. And how else can you remember the Most High if he was not going to give you his judgment? Now look here in the book of Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter. The first verse, where it reads, and it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahweh thy Elohim hath driven thee. And thou shalt return unto Yah thy Elohim. Now he told you that when these things come to mind, and what's going to bring these things to mind? Yahweh's judgment. Yahweh is going to have his judgment come forth so that you can see righteousness, so that you can hear and know about true righteousness. And what is righteousness? Righteousness is the right things. If Yahweh said he was going to do a thing and it comes to pass, that makes it right. And that makes it righteousness. That makes it the truth. That makes it established. And Yahweh said that he would put us in a place that we will serve and be afflicted and be a stranger for 400 years. Now we have a lot of naysayers starting to come around and speak against the word of the Creator when it comes to his judgment. Don't you understand that this is the dawn of your rising? And who does not want to see you rise? Satan. Satan does not want to see Israel rise. He doesn't want Israel to come up out of the darkness. So Satan is starting to send out his emissaries to start to teach against Yah's judgment. It is not a coincidence that Yahweh is magnifying his judgment at the same time Satan is sending out his servants to teach against Yah's judgment. Now, as it said, when this comes upon you, then you're going to return. But how? If the Most High said you don't know the judgment of Yah, and he said that the stork in heaven knows her appointed time, and the crane, the swallow, and the turtle observe their time, but you don't know, Israel, Yah's judgment, then what is it that you should know? One of the most important things about judgment is time. Look in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, where it reads, to everything, first verse, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time belongs to every purpose. A season for everything. That means there is judgment on every purpose because it has been arranged, it has been ordered, and it has been set for every purpose. And how can you return to the Most High if you have no idea of your purpose? Because if you don't know your purpose, you definitely don't know your time. Therefore, you don't know your season. Therefore, you're lost. And what has our enemies attacked to make sure we don't know? They've attacked time itself. When the enemies of the Most High took over the world, what did they do? It's in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. Verse 25. It says, and he, speaking of the 4th beast, this great strange horn, shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given unto his hand, until a time and times and the dividing of time. This is what they sought out to do. Change time and laws. You've been taught that there's a situation where the day is shorter than 12 hours. And that's a lie. I don't care how short the day is. It's never going to be less than 12 hours. You've been taught that a day begins in the middle of the night. And that's a lie. You've been taught that a day begins when night falls. And that's a lie. You've been taught that a year begins in the middle of the night, in the middle of winter. And that's a lie. You've been taught that a month has 28 days and 31 days and 29 days. And that's a lie. You've been taught that a year can have 13 months. And that's a lie. And 354 days. And that's a lie. Your whole time and sense of time has been taught to you, and it has been a lie. So what is one of the first things the Almighty began teaching his people over 7 years ago? Which is time. And what is the thing that we've been teaching Yah's people? But to know the time. And why? Because if you want to know Yah's judgment, you got to know the time. Because there's a time to every purpose. And every purpose is Yah's purpose. And if it's Yah's purpose, it's Yah's determination. And that's Yahweh's judgment. To everything done, there's a season. And if you don't know the time, then how are you going to know? How? So the Almighty wants you to know. And what does the Almighty want you to know about time? The Almighty wants you to know, if you want to know time, this is who you not go to. Go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter. And let's begin reading in the 9th verse. States, when thou art come into the land which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahweh, and because of these abominations, Yahweh thy Elohim doth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with Yahweh thy Elohim. For these nations which thou shalt possess hearkened unto observers of times. And what is an observer of times? An observer of times is somebody that uses the sun, the moon, the stars, and different lights that indicate time, to worship them and to have festivals and ordinances according to these times. What do you think Christmas is? New Year's Day, Easter, Thanksgiving, Halloween. That's observer of times. The Almighty lets you know these things are wickedness. These things are an abomination. So you don't learn time from those that do not follow Yah. They're following the creature. A sun is a creature. A star is a creature. The moon is a creature because it was made by the Creator. You don't follow the sun, the moon, or the stars. Look what the Creator let us know in the book of Jeremiah, the 8th chapter. In Jeremiah, the 8th chapter, in the first verse, it says, "At that time, saith Yahweh, they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Yehudah, and the bones of his princes, and the bones of the priest, and the houses of the prophets, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves. And they shall spread them before the sun and the moon and all the host of heaven, whom they have loved and whom they have served, and after whom they have walked, and whom they have sought, and whom they have worshipped. They shall not be gathered nor buried. They shall be for dung upon the face of the earth." The Creator said, if you loved, served, walked, and sought after the sun, the moon, and the stars, you have done a great evil, a thing that shall not be done in Israel. So when somebody teaches you that our year is based off of the moon, you can now know that they're walking in darkness. When somebody tells you that we have a solar calendar, you can now know that they're walking in darkness. When somebody tells you we follow the zodiac, you now know they're walking in darkness. Because Yahweh let us know that your time is not based on the zodiac. It's not based on the moon. It's not based on the sun. It's based on one thing and one thing only, and that is the word of the Creator. His judgment, his appointed times, as he has appointed them. And what did the Most High say about your year, your months? He said these things, these are based on his word. And they're also based on his glory. And who is that? And what is that? Well, that's you, Israel. He let us know in the First Chronicles, the 27th chapter, verse 1. Now the children of Israel, after their number to wit, the chief fathers and captains of thousands and hundreds, and their officers that served the king in any matter of courses, which came out and went out month by month. Throughout all the months of the year, of every course were 20 and 4,000. It said, now the children of Israel, after their number. And what's the number of the children of Israel? 12. What's the number of every of the months? 12. What's the number of the hours in a day? 12. What's the number of the hours in a night? 12. And what is that? That's the judgment of the Most High. It's determined. It's set. It's purposed. And it has a time. How are you going to go by your enemy's time and it's not even based on the word of the Creator? Well, that's not walking in the way of judgment. It's walking after your enemies. And do you want to walk after your enemies? The ones that have not treated you right at all? As Mowreh IshYAH used to say, if they don't treat you right, they won't teach you right. And they haven't. They haven't taught us right at all. They haven't taught us the right time. Not at all. What about the days of your months? What is that? How is that? Yahweh let us know there's 30 days in a month. But our people are following something that tells them there's 29 or 30 or 28 or 31. All of these things convolute your concept of time. Therefore, it gives you a lack of judgment. And if you're not using judgment, then you're not abiding by the word of the Creator. If you look here in the book of Ezekiel, the 20th chapter, start reading at verse 18, where it reads, but I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourself with their idols. I am Yahweh your Elohim. Walk ye in my statutes, and keep my judgments, and do them. You have to actually do Yah's judgments. If you don't, then you're not doing Yah's work or word. You're not doing it. And what are his judgments? If there's a time to every purpose, what are Yah's judgments? Our people are being lied to and being told that we're not having to worry about, is this our 400-year captivity? Little do a lot of people know, it has been Esau that has taught this for years. Esau has taught for years that the 400-year captivity already happened. They've taught this for years. Years upon years ago, they came out with this doctrine. When I was very new in the law, in the knowledge of the Creator, I seen the teaching, and I knew it was a lie. Because Yahweh told us that we were in Egypt for 430 years. Esau will teach you that that was the 400-year prophecy. And what is that letting you know? It's letting you know somebody is teaching you that Yahweh does not live by judgment. Yet, Yahweh told us, I am Yahweh your Elohim, walk ye in my statutes, and keep my judgments and do them, and hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Yet they want you to believe Yahweh doesn't have judgment. They want you to believe Yahweh uses roundabout and estimated figures. They want you to believe that Yahweh does not say what he means and means what he states, which Yahweh does. If Yahweh said we were in Egypt for 430 years, we were in Egypt for 430 years. And nowhere and in no place can you find that we were anywhere else for 400 years. But this place, the land of the valley of the shadow of death, we've been here nearly 400 years. It's such a known fact that the United States government passed a bill, House Bill H.R. 1242, I believe, which states that they shall have a commemoration of the 400 years of blacks in America starting July 2019. In 7 months, the United States will begin a year-long commemoration of black people in the United States. Ghana is joining suit. Countries know we've been here 400 years. The holy word of the Most High told us we would be here 400 years, yet someone will teach you that already happened. And that's a lie. Because then that would mean Yahweh's judgments aren't true. But I read in the beginning of the class in the book of Deuteronomy 32, where it states in the 4th verse, and I'm going to start at the first verse. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. This is Moses speaking the song Yahweh gave him. Verse 2. My doctrine, which is a teaching. That's what a doctrine is, a teaching. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. Did not I show you in Hosea where it stated, Yah will come to us as the rain, as the latter and the former rain. And here in the song that Yahweh gave to Moses to speak to the children of Israel, he let us know my doctrine shall drop. And what is a doctrine? It's a teaching. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. My speech shall distill as the dew, as the small dew, a small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of Yahweh. Ascribe ye greatness unto our Elohim. He is the rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment. An Elohim of truth and without iniquity. Just and right is he. If you want to return to the Creator, how are you going to do it with lies? You can't do it with lying judgments. Judgments from Yah are never a lie. Yahweh has perfect work. Yahweh is an Elohim of truth. Therefore, if Yahweh said we will be in Egypt for 430 years, then we were in Egypt for 430 years. If Yahweh said to Abraham, surely thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and there they shall afflict them, and they shall serve them 400 years. Now, where is that going on at? That's going on right here. But in order for us to be fulfilling the words of prophecy from the Most High that state that we will be lost, that we will be in darkness, that we would be in the valley of the shadow of death, that we would be as dry bones, that we would be cut off, that we would be forgotten, that we wouldn't even know. In order for those things to come upon us amidst these 400 years, all the forces had to work against us, including ourselves, to do this thing. And what is this thing? It's in the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter. And in Psalms 83, we'll begin reading in verse 1, where it reads, keep thou not silence, O Elohim. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And they had to take away our name. And what is the name of Israel? Oh, Yahweh. Why would they say, let us cut off the name of Israel, and tell you what name they trying to cut off? How you going to forget that? Well, you cutting off the name of Israel. I'm Israel. Well, yes, I'm Yisrael, but what's the name? Who establishes Israel? Yahweh. They want you to forget about the Most High. And why? Because if you forget about Yah, you forget about his work. You forget that he's an Elohim of truth. You forget this. Look what Hannah had to say about the Creator. This is what the enemy, you, your own heart even, wants you to forget. In the book of 1 Samuel, the 2nd chapter, it's the prayer that Hannah prayed. And she said, my heart rejoiceth in Yah. My horn is exalted in Yah. My mouth is enlarged over my enemies, because I rejoice in thy salvation. There is none holy as Yahweh. That's why we say Yahweh is holy. So you can know there is none holy as Yah. Yahweh is holy. For there is none beside thee. Neither is there any rock like our Elohim. Talk no more exceeding proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth. And Yahweh, for Yahweh is an Elohim of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. If you forget that Yahweh is the one that gives the judgment, that weighs your actions, that seeks to know and understand and deem if you are good or if you are evil. It's all in Yah's hands. And if you forget that is the one, then they can take the whole nation from you. And they have, because we have forgotten. But it is time to remember the Creator and remember his judgment. And all of Yah's ways are judgment. Therefore, everything he's done is judgment. And if we are to be in Yahweh's sight, then we have to be in the order of his judgment. There is no stepping out of the judgment of the Most High for the righteous, because it's the righteous that receive the judgment, not the wicked. The wicked will not. Look what it says in the book of Daniel, the 12th chapter. In Daniel chapter 12, we start reading in verse 8, where it says, "And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my master, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand." And the wicked are what? They're not going to change. They're going to do wickedly. They're not going to hear. They're not going to understand. They're not going to do differently. They're going to do wickedly. But the wise shall understand. The wise shall hear. The wise shall obey the Most High and see the time, the judgment, and know what the Most High wants from them. So if you have been hearing the words of the Creator and you've been learning about Yah's judgment, about Yah's righteousness, and it is causing you to change, then praise the mighty Yah. But don't expect the wicked to do anything different. The words of the Most High is going to go forth, and the wicked are not going to move a muscle. Because why? Because they don't understand. They don't hear. And they're not trying to hear. The wicked will not stand in the judgment. The judgment is not given to the wicked, yet it is given to the saints of the Most High. And what is a judgment that Yah gave to his saints? In the book of Isaiah, the 44th chapter. First verse states, "Yet now hear, O Yaakov, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahweh, that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty. Didn't we show you that Yahweh is coming like the rain? And what is his rain? Did we not show you that this is his teachings? I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses. One shall say, I am Yahweh's, and another shall call himself by the name of Yaakov, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yah, and surname himself by the name of YIsraEL. Thus saith Yah, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts, I am the first, and I am the last, and beside me there is no Elohim. And who as I shall call, and shall declare it, and set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people, and the things that are coming, and shall come, let them shew them unto them. But they can't, because Yahweh has made this judgment that he is coming to his people, and he's raising up his people, and his people are calling themselves by the name of Yah, and his people are going to subscribe to the Most High. And he said, let these other nations, let these other people show you these things. Can they? Can they show you what's going on? Can they show you the word of Yah? They can't show you. That's why Yah said in verse 8, fear ye not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from that time, and have declared it? Ye are even my witnesses. Is there an Elohim besides me? Yea, there is no Elohim. I know not any. Therefore, Yahweh doesn't know about these deities and these doctrines that do not involve his judgment. Yah's judgment is given to the saints of the Most High.
60 seconds.
Yah's judgment is all of his ways. Yah's judgment is ingrained throughout his word. And if we are to be righteous, then it is the judgment of Yahweh that we should seek, as it states in Zephaniah, the 2nd chapter. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired, and seek Yahweh, and seek righteousness, and seek meekness, all that have wrought his judgment. If you're going to do his judgment, then you're going to seek him, and you're going to seek righteousness. This is how the Almighty will come and revive you, through this word. And I praise the mighty Yah that I've been witness to the great words the Creator has spoken to us, so that we now can be taught the proper instruction of his judgment. Praise the mighty Yah. Hallelujah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. And until tomorrow, Yahweh loves you very much, and so do I. Shalom.
But just in case I don't make it, tell them about Black Plight, Jacob. It goes cloud by day, fire by night. What the heathens know about Black Plight? The books were open, the judge is just in the right. What the heathens know about Black Plight? Lucifer trying to sit high as a satellite. What the heathens know about Black Plight? They say a big boom created all life. What the heathens know about Black Plight? They try to change time, turn day in the night. What the heathens know about Black Plight? They say Yah's son is named J. Christ. What the heathens know about Black Plight? The scriptures got us black, but the pictures paint us white. What the heathens know about Black Plight? They took Israel and switched them to Ishmaelites. Now you know they don't know about Black Plight.
Let's see what we can learn here. And we're going to see if this is the truth, because if it is the truth, it's consistent with the words of the Most High. Because that's how we learn what truth is.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.